Alright guys, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super video with Kyle Chris, and today we're going to be going over the other yellow leader coming out of Saiyan Showdown, which is going to be Son Gohan slash Great Ape Son Gohan. This is a very interesting leader for a lot of different reasons. One of the biggest things is it's a flip leader, which is very strange. Like I don't know how many. I'm not gonna act like I know all the leaders in the game, but the only other playable one that I know of is Launch, right? Like Launch has the ability to flip constantly over. It doesn't actually have an awaken effect, but it's a very interesting leader. I don't know how super playable it is yet for competitive, but I could see the potential in there. It's just trying to figure out the right build to put around it, right? So first thing, Son Gohan on the front side, auto. If you have one or more energy, whenever a player places a field extra card in a battle area, you may flip this card over. If you do, switch out to one of your yellow energy to active mode. You can't flip your leader to the front side for the turn. Choose one. You either get to draw one or add up to one yellow extra card with energy cost of one from your drop area to your hand. Kind of interesting. I'm assuming a lot of people are going to take the draw because it is most of the time just better just having a straight draw, especially early game, like so basically turn one you can awaken, right? And that's really cool because it just says when a player places an extra field spell, right? So now depending on the deck, certain decks you're probably not going to want to flip over first. I guess it just depends on which deck that you're playing against, right? So if you're playing against like King Cold, you're probably not going to flip just because you're going to wait. Your opponent's going to flip you over anyways. Other decks, at slow decks, you can just play it to restand an energy, draw a card, and now you're at 15k. Now your opponent has to combo to deal damage to you, which is actually really cool, right? So the back side of the leader, when this card attacks, you choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch to the rest mode, then this card gets 5k for the turn. What's cool is that this auto is not once per turn, because you have another auto. It says when this card KOs an opponent's battle card, switch this card to active mode. So you get to swing at a battle card, tap another battle card, gain 5k. If you KO a card, you get to restand, swing again, tap another battle card, and then gain another 5k, making your leader a 25k very quickly. It's very crazy how this leader actually performs, right? Has a third auto when a player's field spell, when a player's field spell leaves a battle area, you may flip this card. You may flip this card to the front. If you do, you can't flip your leader to its backside for the turn. If it's your opponent's turn, switch out to one of your yellow energy to active mode, and this card gets 5k for the turn. So it says you may, as both sides do, right? So you don't technically have to awaken. Your opponent can't force you to awaken, but you may not want to, right? Now, this is an auto that says you may, which means that your opponent can't automatically trigger this off of anything for you. Kind of like how Poutine's effect or Shapil's effect that would trigger just regardless. This can trigger whenever you want to. So obviously the big thing on the front side, or the back side I should say, is that when you flip over to the front, you want to be able to restand an energy. That's really important. It says yellow energy, which this is important for later on in the future. If this deck were to become like red-yellow, red-blue, red-green, right? You have options to be able to restand an energy, and that's really good. Like, just looking at that, being able to play a yellow-blue strategy. Now, you would obviously have to play the field spells, and that's kind of where everything comes into play. It becomes a little more difficult to deal with because you need to run enough field spells to be able to flip. So blue, yellow may not be the call, but currently with this build, we went a mono yellow route. Now, for some of the cards in the deck, these are three of the most, I would say, useful cards for the deck that are coming out of the new set, right? So we have Piccolo, Battle at the Tree. This is a 2-drop blocker. Counterattack, negate the attack, play this card. And you can't activate counterattack skills for the turn. When it's activating this card's counter skill from your hand, if your leader is a yellow Saiyan, you may choose one yellow extra card with an energy cost of 1 in your hand or battle area placed on the drop. If you do, you can play this card for free. So the idea is that you can pitch one of your field spells from your hand. Realistically, you probably want to do it from the board, and it will allow you to play this card out and negate. Also, what happens is, because if you're on This side, if you pitch one of your field spells or pitch your field spell from the battle area, you get to restand an energy and then gain 5k going on to this side, right? This side you have to play it out to get the effect, so that's kind of the big difference there, right? So this is cool. This is an SR that honestly is probably going to be really cheap. I don't see this card being very expensive because you kind of have to play it in this leader, right? Like, you have field spells. Not a lot of decks are playing 1-drop yellow field spells outside of this leader, really, and like old Mecha Frieza with Planet Vegeta. So this is a archetype locked, as of right now, an archetype locked SR. And that's kind of bad because that means this card's going to be extremely cheap and probably, I mean, really unplayable in any other deck except for this deck. So if you're not playing this deck, this card's, you know, if you pull this card from your box, it's kind of useless if you're not, you know, playing this deck. But we'll continue here. So Forbidden Power, this is unlike Piccolo card, this is probably the best, probably second best yellow card in the set. Forbidden Power is a counterattack. If your leader is yellow, your opponent can attack only with battle cards one more time for the turn. It's essentially yellow dormant. And what's nice is that you don't have to pitch a card for it, right? Trade-off is you have to pay the 1 energy. So you pay 1 energy instead of having it for free from dormant, but you don't have to lose 2 cards from your hand. You only pitch this card. It's not too bad, right? Activate battle if your leader is yellow and it's your turn. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. Switch to the rest mode and choose up to one of your yellow cards, and it gets 10k for the battle. This is very, very important, right? This card allows you to, now this does cost 1 energy, so it is activate battle for 1 energy. You can tap anything in the game, ignoring barrier, and then give one of your yellow cards 10k for the battle. Obviously, you're going to get the card that's attacking 10k. That wouldn't make any sense if you gave it to anything else. But being able to tap down certain cards, especially blockers, cards that have barrier that are just like little pesky guys, like 1-drop Bobbity from AOD, like you can just tap these cards. And it makes it very difficult for them to deal with it, right? And then on the other side of it, this is a yellow dormant. Very powerful, very powerful card. And then one of the field spells that came out of the new set that I think is probably one of the better ones for the deck is Forest Fire. It has 2 different autos. First auto is if your leader is a yellow Saiyan. When this card is placed in the battle area, add up to 1 mono yellow Saiyan card with an energy cost of 4 from your deck to your hand and shuffle. Doesn't say search top 5. It just says grab any 4 or less Saiyan. And we'll go over the Saiyans that we have in the deck that this card works with once we get to the deck profile portion. The second auto is when this card is, place this card in the owner's drop area from your battle area. At the end of your opponent's turn, they may choose 1 card in their hand and discard it. If they don't, choose all extra cards and energy cost of 1 in their battle areas and place in the owner's drop. Now, I don't know the ruling on this card. I feel like I have one of these in every video, you know, because I always think of something like this, right? So I'm sure somebody will let me know down in the comments. And the idea is that I don't think this hits King Cold. I don't see why it would, because all of King Cold's spells are 2 cost. And I believe it reduces the activation cost by 1. It's not saying that their cost is reduced everywhere by 1. Now, there may be a rule saying that it is. Maybe I didn't look hard enough. Either one of those options actually could be true. But I don't really know what the purpose of this field spell is for the bottom effect. I don't know. Now, the nice thing about it is the auto does trigger your awaken condition. So at the end of your opponent's turn, you can pitch this card from your hand to restand an energy. That part doesn't really matter. And then you get to just flip your leader over. So this way you can get to your front side, so then you can get your draw, turn into the big guy, and then swing, right? That's kind of the purpose of the card. To me, that and the being able to search your deck for any 4 or less mono yellow Saiyan. So these are some of the important cards that I feel like are going to go into the deck, and then we'll go into the second part. We're going to talk about the deck, card count, and everything like that. All right, guys, so here is the deck in its entirety. 51 card deck. I think this deck is pretty interesting, and we'll kind of go over it a little bit here. So obviously we kind of gone over the Forest Fire card here, but the other field spell that we are running in the deck is going to be Higher Dragon's Home. So this has three autos. If your leader's a yellow Saiyan, when this card is placed in the battle, add up to 1 monster with cost of 3 less from your deck to your hand and shuffle. This is kind of cool. You get to search out this. You get to search out this little one guy here and this guy here. There's a promo TP, which I'm actually thinking about adding to the deck. We'll actually do it now since we're kind of here already, right? Let's do this on the spot because I think this card could actually be pretty good for the deck here. So this guy searches out any 3 or less monster from your deck, add it to your hand. At the end of your opponent's turn, place this card in the drop. So this card automatically goes to the drop at the end of the turn, which then will flip your leader over. Auto for 2, when this card is placed in its owner's drop area from your battle area, choose up to 1 monster card with an energy cost of 2 less in your hand and play it. Now, the interesting thing is, I believe, because this triggers at the end of turn, how this would work is that at the end of your opponent's turn, you tap, at the end of the turn, you pitch this card, right? Then you can activate your leader auto, which then allows you to restand 1 and flip. And then if you have 2 energy up, you can tap 2 to then play out a 2-drop monster from your hand. And then your turn would then start, where then you would restand all of your energy. I believe that's how it would work. That's end of turn protocol. That's technically how that would work because they're all autos. So you can basically play out. You can search your deck for most of your monsters, and you can tap 2 to play out a 2-drop monster, which then I would play this guy out here. Now this guy also has a second effect. We'll go over here in a second. I think those are all the field spells, right? Yeah, it is. So this guy here, when this card is played, add up to 2 yellow skills cards with a cost of 1 and different card names from your deck to your hand, then shuffle. Currently, I'm just running the 4 higher dragon guys here. So that's the only one that you can really search. So you can't actually search out both of these, and you can't play the second higher dragon and play that one too because it's the same name. But activate main for 1 yellow. You may choose 1 skill card in your battle area and place it in the drop, and place the card from your hand. It just gives you a 15k, and then it allows you to search out for another dragon guy, right? So it's still kind of a +1, potentially +2 if you run a different monster, or a different 1-drop skills guy. The other 1-drop skills guy, obviously we're not going to go over this guy. He's just a skills guy. Then you have higher dragon battle at the tree. This is a 1-drop blocker. Choose 1 field card, energy card, energy cost of 1 in your battle area, and place it in the owner's drop. When this card is played from your hand or used in a combo, draw 1. So it's a 10k. You pop a field to then draw the card, and then which that could trigger your leader effect here, which then allows you to restand energy, draw 1, and then you go to this side, making you 25. It's pretty cool, right? Or you can do it on this side to basically draw, restand the energy, and then flip back over, and then still be 15k, making you 25k, right? So like it's got some pretty uniqueness to it. It's not a terrible card. I have it in here for 2 right now because it is a 10k 1 cost, and that's pretty expensive for our taste, right? Then the other 2, the other 1-drop, almost forgot this guy. So this guy, you play him out for 1. You search top 7 from your deck for a basically a field spell. So you search out Forest Fire or Higher Dragon's Home, and then you can add it to your hand or activate it, which is very cool. So you basically can tap this guy, play him out for 1, play out Forest Fire, search your deck for a Saiyan. Leader effect will then trigger. You then restand the energy and then draw a card. So you played out a field, which drew you a card. You played out the 1-drop, and then you drew another card, and then you restored the energy and then awoken, right? That's pretty powerful. Being able to do all of that off of 1 energy, that's super, super good, right? Second effect, activate battle. Limit 1, switch this card to rest mode, then choose 1 of your field cards in your battle area, place in the drop area, then choose 1 of your mono yellow Saiyan cards, and it gets 1k for the battle. So the idea is that you can switch this to rest mode, pop 1 of your field spells, and then trigger your leader effect, which then will give you the 1k. The 1k actually is pretty good, because it's basically a senzu bean. If you're playing against a deck that just plays a bunch of 15ks, going to 16k is pretty good. Now, it is only for the battle, so that's kind of the issue. It's not for the turn. If it was for the turn, it'd be nuts. But for the battle, it is what it is, right? Okay, and then we have the other 2, which are the 6-drops here. Sun Gohan and Higher Dragon Peacekeepers. You evolve on top of a 2 or less Sun Gohan, Youth, or Higher Dragon. So you evolve on top of this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. And he is a 20k double strike. very, very powerful. When this card leaves the battle area, it is sent to the owner's warp instead. So just a 1-drop 20k double strike. It's very, very good. We probably could run more of this card in the deck. This is kind of considered our new ruler slot for this deck. Obviously we're not red, so we can't run that card, but it's, you know, it's that area of where like you're able to play this guy out for either free or cheap, and he got double strike, and then he goes to the warp, right? He also has a 5k combo, which is very, very important. The other guy is flying high. We run 2 of him. Unique 25k dual attack. Same effect for the permanent. Whenever this card leaves the battle area, it gets warped. Second permanent of all of your yellow skills battle cards energy cost of 1 gain 5k while this card is on the field. That is very, very powerful. Basically making these guys 15k. And then the second effect, activate main. If you have 3 more energy, you choose 2 of your yellow skills battle cards energy cost of 1 placed in the owner's drop. Play the card from your hand. So you can play them out for 1, right? Anybody who is a fan of my channel, has been watching my channel for a while, you guys can probably see some remnants of my my yellow skillless Gotenks deck that I absolutely loved. It was a mint deck, but it played the similar engine with these Unison here, the Forever in Our Memories, and the idea was that you basically stopped your opponent from being able to play out a lot of really annoying cards because of this card here, and your big boss monsters actually get over that limit from the Unison, so basically giving you a lot of power and kind of limiting what your opponent can do. So this Unison here is great. I'm gonna go on the record now. I think yellow decks that are going to Nats should be playing this card in the side deck because it does stop a lot of weird rogue decks, and it puts your opponent in a very uncomfortable position. So Son Goku, Forever in Our Memories, he's a 15k battle card. Don't get confused by the Shinran on the cover. It's not a Shinran card, so this card can attack. Permanent, if your leader is yellow, all of your battle cards and your opponent's battle cards with an original energy cost of 5 or less have their skills negated, and all of your battle cards energy cost of 1 get 5k power. So this is a permanent. What this card says is that any battle card that has on-play effects that are not in the counter window are negated. Doesn't say choose. Doesn't say choose ignoring barrier. It doesn't say anything like that. The effect is on the board. So if your opponent has, say, 2 or 3 battle cards on board, they all have barrier. When this card comes into play, the skill is negated. No barrier, right? Because it's just on the field itself. So it basically makes everything skillless in the battle area. Under 5 energy cost, original 5 cost, right? Second thing is it negates the on-play autos. Now, it doesn't negate green text, so that's something to keep in mind here. So if you see a lot of our counterplays, we got this guy here, we have Goku, and then we have the Vegeta. All of the main text is going to be in green, right? Now, they do have blocker, like these 2 guys have blocker, this guy also has blocker. It's fine, truthfully. It doesn't matter that much because the skill's negated. Who cares? But the counter attack skills are not. So this allows you to do that. Now it says also original energy cost of 5 or less, meaning that token negates, since they don't have an original energy cost, are not affected. So you can play these guys out, take life, do whatever you got to do, and then this guy will still have blocker when he's on board for the turn, which is incredibly powerful. Just allows you to keep your Unison alive, right? But wait, the Unison has more effects. So the +0, you get to play out 2 1-drop energy cost of 1 skillless battle cards from the drop area. So we get to play these guys back out from our drop, right? And bottom effect, -2, if your leader's yellow, your opponent can only attack with battle cards 1 more time during their next turn. It's basically giving us the forbidden power effect, so that's why we're not running it in the deck, right? So this section right here, right, this is from the old deck, and the idea of this kind of goes like this, right? So you guys, you'll have these out at some point during the game, right? The idea is that when you have this on board, you slam this down after swinging with these guys, because this guy makes all of your 1-cost cards 15k, right? So these will be 15ks. And you swing both of them. Then you tap 1 to play this guy out, which will then put these 2 in the drop. Activate main, play them out again. So now you have this guy on board, which is 25k dual attack, and you have these guys on board who are gaining 5k from the Gohan Higher Dragon, 5k from the Unison, making them 1-drop 20ks. So you're swinging with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 swings right there between those cards. That's not including your leader and anything else you have on the board, right? Also, this stops all your opponent's floodgates, right? The only one it doesn't stop is Oceanus, because Oceanus's text is all in the green, and I think Bupo because it's all in the green, right? Sure, somebody will correct me if I'm wrong there, but basically all of the auto text on any of the cards, it's negated. So you have Mecha Frieza, negate. It's negated. You have Topo, negated. Just think of a battle card with an original energy cost of 5 or less, and think of any of its on-play effects. Doesn't happen, right? Very, very powerful. This obviously in yellow is built to be like a cooler blue-red counter. It also does a bunch of other stuff too, but card's super, super good. So we're running 4 of those. 4 Krillin. Not going to go over the Krillin stuff. 3 Frieza army. Just like, as I said before, this does not have an original energy cost. When it comes into play, it still has blocker. Very, very important. The counterplays. We already talked about the Piccolo card, so we're going to skip that. And you have Vegeta, which is the free counterplay if you have a unit with 2 or more markers in play. We run it because, for 1, it's searchable off the field spell for free. And 2, when we get our Unison down, this is going to help us protect the Unison. Then you also have Goku, which works as well. Reduced for energy cost for every yellow extra card in your battle area, energy, and drop area. And then he's a 1 cost, does the same thing as Vegeta, but then draws you a card, right? All that text is in the green, so you get all that text. Now, last few tech cards here, we have Krillin, Battle at the Tree. If you have a field card in play, he gains blocker. Auto, if you don't have a field card in play when this card is played. Activate 1 field spell from your drop area, and a cost of 1. So, you can play him. He then will play out this. You then search the deck for one of your counter guys here, and then he gains blocker. The idea of this deck really is to keep your Unison alive, get the turn 4 or 5, and then you can play your big boss monster, Son Goku, Return of the Dragon Fist. 4 energy, play him out for 3 if you have Unison in play. Comes into play, KO 2 battle cards in rest mode. He has Deflect, he's Double Strike. You can then Spirit Boost 2 to then give this card dual attack, and your opponent cannot activate the skills on battle cards with an original energy cost of 7 or less during this card's battle. So, super combos, floodgates, blocker, things like that. Can't activate any of them. This is your win condition here, obviously, and it does a pretty good job. You have between the aggro portion of the deck, which falls in line with these 4 Higher Dragon, tech cards here. All your defensive stuff. Obviously, you have fighting against fates, so you can kind of do both of these on the same turn. He also gets over the 5 cost limit, so he can go on board and have his dual attack and be fine. Also, if someone plays an Overwhelm card under 5 cost, the Overwhelm card is, I believe how it works is that the Overwhelm card is paid, the cost is paid before the card comes into play, so it would then leave the battle area afterwards because the effect took place already, right? Yeah, because it's not technically an auto, so it would still trigger that way, right? Power Super Saiyan. Don't really need to talk about that card because we kind of should know what this card does by now. One of the best yellow cards in the game. You see we're not running the 5-drop Turles, right? Because with this particular build, it doesn't get over the Son Goku effect, so it just all of its effects are autos, so you can't really play it and gain any sort of success. So we don't really need it currently in this build. And the secret rare is going to be Super 17. So because all of our energy is mono yellow, once you were to get past turn 3, this card becomes a 1-drop Deflect, 40k crit that basically cold bloodless the card being played, and then you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier and rest mode, and then absorb it. That's pretty powerful too, right? So this just stops this is mainly for your opponent wants to play I don't know, Fu Shrouded in Mystery or 8-drop Fu, or just another really big battle card that you really can't deal with. You just play this card, and then it just blanks the card, and then you can absorb another card. Very powerful, very, 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 very powerful. It's really funny with games that you're playing against somebody who is using a combo deck. So they swing with the battle card, then they arrival another battle card, maybe activate battle, play Kai, whatever, right? You can then blank the card coming into play, then you can absorb the attacking card to end the battle, and then they can't do anything more, right? Super good. As a 53 card deck, I just added these two during the video, but I do think they are pretty necessary to have. I think this list is pretty good, right? I've tested a little bit on Untap. Obviously, I've tested the crap out of this this combination here with these 4 cards, which, so if you guys have watched the channel, you guys have seen the deck profile, obviously, you know, in no games, but I think this could be a spiritual successor to my Gotenks deck, and we're going to give it a shot. Well, we're going to give it a shot. Only things I really need, obviously, are the new cards. This card's going to be super cheap. This card will probably be a little expensive, depending on how yellow does at Nats. So we'll kind of go from there and see. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys like the deck. Let me know what you guys think down below. Give me some comments of what you guys think of this list. Anything that you would change, anything you know about the leader, or if there's something in the video that I said wrong, you know, link it down below. We'll talk about it, have a little discussion. And that's all I got for you guys today. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.